Let's make a trajectory line which calculates rebounds and even takes the bounciness and friction level of your object's materials into account. Let's get into it. So first, start a new script. Let's call this projection. Okay, open it up. And the first thing we're going to do is create a new scene to perform our simulations on, which will be overlaid on the top of R1. So let's create a new method here called create. We'll call it physics scene. And then in here, we will create the scene. So simulation scene, let's call it, will be equal to, and we need scene manager here. So Unity engine scene management will be equal to scene manager dot create scene. And let's call this just simulation. It's just the name of the scene and it really doesn't matter. And for the parameters, we will do new create scene parameters and we'll use 3D. Actually, we will make this a private variable, as we'll be needing it. And then we'll also make another private variable called physics scene, and this will be equal to simulation scene.get physics scene. So the top one here is the actual scene, and then this one is specifically the physics of that scene. Okay, next step is to actually put objects in the simulation scene. So for example, I've got these objects here, which all have colliders on them, and they're all children of this obstacles object here. So I'm just going to loop through these children and then add them into this new scene. So let's create a serialized field here so we can see this in the inspector. Private transform, and this will be the obstacles parent. Okay, now let's loop through these objects. So this will be an obj, and this will be, oops, I'm looping over my obstacle parents, and of type transform, cool. Okay, so now we're looping through all the children and I'm going to spawn a new one. So let's call this a ghost obj and we'll instantiate it. And the prefab for this will just be the object, this child's game object. Just grabbing the object and just spawning them. And then, actually we need to spawn it in the same location. So we'll say obj.transform.position and then obj.rotation. It's already a transform, so we don't need to access it like that. And now we need to throw it over to the new scene. So scene manager, move object to scene, and we'll send in the ghost object, and then the scene will be the simulation scene. Cool, so now we are creating these scenes, the scene, grabbing the physics scene, and then chucking all the objects that we want in that scene over to it. And also, when we do this, because both of the scenes are actually overlaid on top of each other, we can actually see these objects that we're spawning in the other scene. So what we can do here is ghost object, get component, and grab the renderer, whether it's a mesh renderer or a skinned mesh renderer or whatever. This is the base class, so it should work. Enabled equals false, so we're just turning that off. Cool. So in our start function, let's actually call this create, holy moly, create physics scene. Okay, so before we continue, let's actually see if that's working. So go across to our scene, and on my cannon, I'm going to attach the projection script, and it's asking for the obstacles parent, so I'm just going to put that there. Yep, press play, and we'll say the simulation scene has been created, and it's got all of our game objects. Okay, so now that we've got our physics scene, let's actually run a simulation on it. Now I've got this ball script here, and basically it's just, it's doing some sound, some particle effects when it hits something, but most importantly it's got this init function here that as soon as we spawn, we call this and we send in our velocity, and we'll just launch the ball. We'll grab our rigid body and add force to it. So let's make a function here on our projection. Let's call this public void simulate trajectory. Is a pretty fitting name, and this will take in my ball prefab. It will take in the position that we're wanting to start it, so this will be the barrel of my cannon, for example, and also the velocity that we're shooting it. Cool. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is spawn the ghost object actually, so we can just pretty much copy this and just send in the details, so the position, and it's a cannonball. I don't really care about the rotation, so quaternion rotation. I'm going to grab the renderer and disable it, and then send in just the game object like that. Cool, so now we've got our cannonball in the other script, and this is actually very repetitive, so probably best to put it in a function for another time though. So now that we've got it, let's shoot our ball. So as I said, I've got a function on my ball, init, that just adds the force. So we can just say, whoops, ghost object dot init, and send in our velocity. Okay, so now that we've got this ghost cannonball and it's flying through the physics scene, what we're going to do is shoot forward X amount of physics frames, and on each one of those physics frames, we're going to take note of where the ball was, and then we can actually plot that on our line renderer. So let's grab a few variables here. So this will be a private line renderer, and let's call this line. And then another one called, this will be an int, sorry, and this will be max physics frame iterations. Pretty self-explanatory name. So then now let's set our line position count, and this will be equal to our max iterations. Okay, so now let's loop over for the amount of physics frames that we're going to do. And we are going to now use our physics scene that we created a reference to earlier, and we're going to say simulate. Now we want to simulate whatever we've got our max frame iteration set to. We want to simulate that many physics frames in the future. So we can just say time.fixed delta time. So every single time this is called, it's going one physics update in the future. For example, now we've done one physics frame update, so now we can set our very first line position to wherever the ball is at this very moment. So we can say line.set position, and it's going to be I for the position index, and our ghost object .transform.position. So let's say that this is defaulted to 100, for example. So every single time that this is called, we're going to predict 100 frames into the future and set our point there. And then, even though that this poor little ball only just arrived into the world, we are going to destroy it straight away. So it's not even going to be honest, we don't even need to do this, because it's not even visible for a whole scene, for a whole frame. We're just going to delete it straight away. And I think that should be good. So let's head back into Unity. And on our cannon, we now need a line. So let's make a line renderer. And let's reduce the thickness just a little. And for the material, I have actually got a line material here, which I'll include in the description. I think that should be good. Let's just see. Yeah. Yep, cool. Okay, so our cannon, let's just remove the position counts. Send that in, set the iteration count to 100. Okay, so now we need to actually call this simulate trajectory, because right now nothing's calling it, so it's not doing anything. So on my cannon script, so I haven't shown you this, but I've got this hidden here because it's out of scope. Basically, it's just, turning left and right, up and down, and pressing spacebar to shoot. I will include it in the description, but yeah, out of scope of this tutorial. Let's call our projection. So let's make a serialized field private projection, grab a reference to it, and then let's call it. So projection.simulate trajectory, and this takes in the prefab. So down here, I've got this prefab reference, so let's send that in, and where we want to actually start the simulation. So on my cannon, I'll just show you, I've got this barrel and spawn right here. So that's where I want to spawn my ball. So let's send in the ball spawn dot position, and the force will be ball spawn dot forward. Obviously, we're wanting to shoot the ball forward times our force, which I've got here. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Let's go back and try that out. So press play. And what's it saying? Object reference not set to an instance. Because we haven't set our trajectory. So let's send that into the cannon. And press play. And there we go. So as you can see, it's like there's some phantom cannonballs right now and hitting the ground. We obviously don't want these to spawn. So let's clean this up a little bit. On our ball, let's actually send in boolean is ghost, and if they are indeed a ghost, is ghost equals is ghost. Just make that field there. If is ghost, damn it, is ghost, then let's just return. We don't want to spawn these effects here, and so then in our ghost we'll say is ghost true, but then in our cannon we'll say is ghost false. Okay, let's try that out. Press play. And there we go. So no more poofs on the ground, and the ball follows our projection line perfectly, obviously until it hits something that's not in the simulation. So these broken boxes are not in the simulation. But yeah, so the good thing about this is that it actually takes into account the bounciness of the materials or the friction of the materials and puts that into the simulation. Whereas if you were doing this in just a mathy way, which I have done in the past, you would not, well, you could, but it would be a significantly larger effort to try and allocate for all the different material types. So that's one definitely good thing about this, and to be honest, it's pretty damn easy. It's not that much code, pretty much just that, and then calling it, and you've got yourself a prediction line. So I hope this came in handy. I hope you had fun watching it, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Okay, so I've just had another thought. What if you want to actually move your objects around in the scene? If you're moving your main object here, that does not mean that your physics scene object is moving. So what you could do is when you create these objects, let's make this a private dictionary, and this will be of type game object, and the key will be game object, and the values will also be game object, and this will be spawned objects equals new dictionary. Now what we're going to do here is actually update the physics object location whenever the actual object moves. So that could actually probably be pretty expensive. So what I'm going to do is only grab the objects that are not marked static. So let's go here. If ghost object is static, yeah, but is not static, sorry. Spawned objects add, and here we're going to put in as the key the real object, and then in here the ghost object. Cool, and then I'm going to make an update function. Now we want to actually loop through these objects and update the values position according to the keys position. So for each, it's going to be that collection, and we're going to say item.value.position, no, transform.position equals item.key.transform.position. And that's actually horrible, so let's change this to transform. Transform. And just that, and this one, transform. So now we don't have to say that every time. Dot position, and then this will be the rotation, just in case you're rotating it as well. So now that should update the locations, and we could just simulate that pretty simply. Actually, we need to make some things static, so let's actually make these all static. And then let's just turn this one to non-static. So now if we press play, and we put that up there, if we actually move this one now, yep, there we go. But as all the other ones are static, if we move this one, we can't because it's static. So that put a damper on that one. So there we go. Yeah, just a little extra tip just in case.